A phone rings in a Stuttgart hotel room. Norbert Singer, Porsche's head of motorsport, answers. His voice is ice cold. Is it working? On the other end, a pit engineer at Circuit de la Sarthe whispers back, the fuel pressure differential is holding. They have no idea. Singer pauses. Then, good. Don't tell the drivers. 21 hours later, Derek Bell will cross the finish line at Le Mans in a car so illegal, so brilliantly disguised, that even he doesn't understand what's under the hood. And when the truth finally comes out, it won't just end a technology, it'll rewrite the rulebook forever. This is the story of the most controversial engine modification in motorsport history, the twin-turbocharged fuel pressure system that should have been impossible, and the engineers who pulled off the greatest heist in racing, the impossible problem. Let me set the scene for you. It's 1985. Endurance racing is dying, costs are exploding, teams are going bankrupt, and the FIA, Motorsport's governing body, decides to save the sport with one brutal rule: 600-liter fuel limit for the entire 24 hours of Le Mans. Do the math. That's roughly 25 liters per hour. For a car doing 220 miles per hour, with a turbocharged engine that drinks fuel like a jet fighter, it's impossible. Ferrari tries it. Their 288 GTO runs out of fuel at hour 19. Jaguar engineers calculate they'd need to run so lean the engine would melt pistons by midnight. Even Porsche's own simulations show the same result. You cannot finish Le Mans under these rules with a competitive lap time. But here's where it gets interesting, because while every other team is trying to solve the problem the right way, better aerodynamics, lighter materials, more efficient turbos, Porsche's engineers are asking a different question. What if we don't play by physics, the secret weapon? November 1985. Porsche's Weissach Development Center, classified meeting. 3 engineers sit in a locked room. Norbert Singer, Roland Kussmaul, and a fuel systems specialist whose name has never been made public. On the whiteboard, a diagram that looks more like a weapons schematic than a car component. They call it Project Druckwelle, pressure wave. Here's what they discovered. The FIA regulations controlled fuel quantity, liters in the tank, but they said nothing about fuel pressure, nothing about how that fuel enters the combustion chamber. Nothing about pre-compression, and that loophole, it was worth 120 horsepower. The system worked like this, and I'm simplifying because even explaining it feels illegal. Traditional fuel injection sprays fuel into cylinders at around 5 bar of pressure. Porsche's system, 45 bar. They build a hidden dual-stage accumulator that used exhaust gas energy to pre-compress fuel before injection. The result was fuel atomized so finely it burned 18% more efficiently, meaning you could run higher turbo boost, extract more power, and still stay under the fuel limit. One engineer described it years later as, "We didn't cheat the rules, we cheated thermodynamics." But here's the twist. They knew it was so controversial that even their own drivers couldn't know. The deception. June 14, 1986, Le Mans scrutineering. FIA technical inspectors swarm the Porsche 962C. They check fuel tank capacity, engine displacement, turbo restrictor size. Everything passes because the pressure accumulator, hidden inside the oil cooler housing. The control electronics, disguised as boost management. Even the wiring was color-coded to match factory spec. One mechanic who worked on the car told reporters decades later, "We had a rule. If anyone asks about fuel delivery, you say Bosch K-Jetronic, standard spec. That's it, no elaboration." Derek Bell, 3-time Le Mans winner, one of the greatest endurance drivers ever, walks into the garage at 11 p.m., 12 hours before the race. Norbert Singer pulls him aside. "Derek, the car will feel different, more power in the straights. Don't question it, just drive." Bell later recalled, "I knew something was off. The fuel consumption numbers made no sense, but in racing, you don't ask questions. You just go faster." Domination and suspicion. Race day. Lap 1. The Porsche is quick. Lap 50, the Porsche is impossibly quick. Lap 150, in their minds. Because here's what they're seeing on the timing screens. Average fuel consumption, 200.8 liters per 100 kilometers. That's better than a modern Toyota Prius. In a 4x20 162 prototype doing 245 miles per hour, Jaguar's team principal storms into race control. They're cheating. I don't know how, but they're cheating. FIA inspectors check the fuel. Legal. They check the tank with ultrasound. Legal capacity. They demand telemetry data. Everything shows normal fuel flow rates because the magic wasn't happening in the tank. It was happening in the pressure. Hour 18, Porsche is 2 laps ahead. Hour 20, 3 laps. By hour 24, it's not even close. Derek Bell crosses the finish line, total fuel used 597 liters, 3 liters under the limit. In the press conference, a journalist asks Bell, "How did you manage fuel consumption that shouldn't be possible?" Bell smiles. German engineering. The room erupts in laughter, but in the back, a Ferrari engineer isn't laughing. He's already planning the protest, the cover-up, and the ban. Post-race scrutineering is chaos. Jaguar files a formal protest. Ferrari sends engineers to photograph every inch of the Porsche. Renault demands the fuel system be disassembled publicly. FIA inspectors spend 6 hours examining the car. They find nothing. Because technically, nothing is illegal. The fuel capacity is correct. The engine meets regulations. The turbo restrictor is standard. Porsche takes their trophy, their $1.2 million prize money, and their secret. But the FIA isn't stupid, just outplayed. 6 months later, October 1987, new technical regulations are published. Fuel delivery systems must maintain consistent pressure throughout competition. Pressure accumulation devices, exhaust-driven fuel compression, and secondary pre-injection systems are expressly prohibited. Every single word written to kill one technology. Porsche challenges the rule change. They argue, correctly, that they never violated 1986 regulations. The FIA's response is chilling. The regulations have been clarified to preserve competitive equity. Compliance is non-negotiable. Translation, we know what you did and it's over. The legend. Here's the part that gives me chills. Porsche has still never officially confirmed the system existed. Their engineering archive lists it as proprietary fuel management technology, retired 1987. No technical drawings, no patents, no documentation. The 3 engineers who designed it, bound by lifetime NDAs. The only reason we know anything is because Roland Kussmaul, decades later, on his deathbed, told his son, "We built something so perfect, they had to change the rules of physics to stop us." Because that's the truth about innovation in motorsport. If your technology is so advanced it requires new laws to ban it, you didn't break the rules, you transcended them. The 1986 Le Mans victory stands. The trophy sits in Porsche's museum, and somewhere in a locked vault in Stuttgart, there's a fuel system that won 1 race and lost a war. But here's the final twist. Modern Formula One hybrid systems use pressure wave energy recovery, just like Porsche's banned system. Turns out, you can't kill an idea, you can only delay it. In 2003, a journalist asked Norbert Singer if he had any regrets about 1986. He smiled and said, yes, that we only got to use it once.